The walnut coffin was halfway into the ground when the stallion screamed.
Why won't they let me see him? He was my husband.
Dignity, child. The casket must remain closed. It was a terrible accident.
Beside the grave, a ranch hand struggled to hold Noche, Richard's black stallion, his ears flat. Then the horse tore free, muscles bunching, and charged the open grave with a sound like thunder. His front hooves came down on the walnut lid. Wood splintered with a crack that silenced every prayer, and from inside the shattered coffin, a sound no one expected, the thin, desperate cry of a newborn.
That's a baby. Oh God, there's a baby in there.
Madre de Dios. What have I done?
The coffin held no body, only a tiny, living infant wrapped in a burial shroud. Richard Salazar was gone. Emma stumbled forward, dropping to her knees beside the shattered casket, her veil torn, her pearl necklace swinging against the wood.
There's no wound, no blood. This isn't Richard. This is a living child.
She pulled back the burial linen, revealing a newborn struggling for breath, its tiny chest heaving. Paramedics pushed through the frozen mourners, lifting the infant from the splinters with practiced urgency.
I can explain. The Lord's mercy. We had no choice.
Mercy. You buried a living child in my husband's grave. Where is Richard?
The priest's hands trembled. His Bible lay open in the dirt, pages fluttering. A paramedic shouted for an ambulance as the baby's cries weakened, its skin mottled and cool.
Everyone, step back. I am Detective Reyes. This is now a crime scene. No one touches anything.
The search for Richard Salazar's body was only beginning, but the first answer lay in the infant's DNA and the priest's cracked silence.
Mrs. Salazar, when did you last see your husband alive? Tell me everything.
3 days ago. He went riding at dawn alone. They found his hat near the arroyo, the horse lathered. They said there was too much blood.
Behind them, Father Mateo pressed a crucifix to his lips, his gaze fixed on the shattered casket.
The priest insisted on a closed casket. He said it was God's will, that I shouldn't see him like that. I never questioned it.
And where is the body now, ma'am? Because that coffin holds no corpse. Just a child fighting for breath. Bag everything. I want a full forensic sweep of this coffin and a DNA test on that baby. Now.
Forensic techs descended on the grave like shadows, dusting for prints, collecting fibers from the splintered walnut.
You must believe me. I am bound by the seal of confession. What was done to save a soul.
A soul? Right now? There's an infant fighting for life and a missing man. Your seal doesn't protect you from obstruction.
The investigation had only just begun, but already the priest's trembling hands and the widow's shattered trust pointed to a conspiracy that reached far beyond a simple accident. By evening, Emma sat across from Detective Reyes at the station, a stack of Richard's personal documents between them.
Your husband left debts, Mrs. Salazar, massive ones, and names I don't like.
We were building a legacy. He said the ranch was thriving. What else was a lie?
The ledgers showed 6-figure loans, a balloon payment, and a familiar cartel insignia on a promissory note.
He swore the canyon deal would save us. I signed the papers he gave me without reading them.
Ma'am, there's a high chance your husband isn't dead. He may have staged this to escape.
Staged. The word burned like acid. Richard had left her in a grave of his making.
Hours later, the newborn was in intensive care. Stable, but its eyes still held the shadow of the coffin.
What did they do to you, little one? You are just as innocent as I wanted to be.
Emma placed her hand on the glass. Her world had crumbled into debt and deceit, but this child was breathing. So would she. In the cold sacristy, Detective Reyes slid a photo of the empty coffin across the table toward Father Mateo.
No body, Father. Just a child. Explain to me how a corpse becomes a newborn.
You see only a crime. I see divine intervention. That infant is a miracle, a sign from heaven.
A witness saw you holding a newborn behind this church last week. Was that a miracle too?
Father Mateo's fingers found his rosary, knuckles whitening as the beads dug into his skin.
I am bound by the seal of confession. Whatever I know, I cannot reveal. My lips are sealed by God.
Then I'll charge you with obstruction and endangerment. Your silence hides a crime, not a sin.
A parish volunteer told officers she saw the priest pacing with a wrapped infant 3 days before the funeral.
I want this church scoured. Every record, every note, every baptismal certificate. Get me a warrant.
The priest pressed his trembling hands together, but no prayer could quiet the storm gathering around him. The DNA report arrived at midnight. A single line circled in red, familial match, 99.7%.
Your granddaughter, father, not a miracle. A child you nearly buried alive.
Father Mateo's last defense crumbled. Tears carved through the dust on his cheeks.
Her name was Lucia, my daughter. She died giving birth. I had no one left to protect.
Protect. Richard Salazar used you. He turned a funeral into a crime.
He knew the cartel would come. He swore the child would be found quickly. I believed him. I was a coward.
From his cassock, the priest drew a worn envelope. Richard's letter promised cash and silence, signed with his initials.
Where is he now, Father? Give us something to stop him.
Argentina. He fled south the night before the service. He said he had a new life waiting.
The confession didn't absolve him, but it finally cracked open the truth. Richard Salazar was alive, and his cruelty knew no bounds. At dawn, Reyes placed a grainy surveillance photo before Emma, Richard Salazar, alive on a Buenos Aires sidewalk.
Alive. The man who left me to rot in debt, who buried an innocent child in his place. Alive. He planned this. The ride, the blood, the closed casket, all a stage.
In a flash of memory, she saw him that night, arguing with a cartel enforcer, his voice low, desperate. He owed more than money. Richard's escape was methodical. He staged an accident, coerced the priest with his dying granddaughter, and scripted a funeral designed to bury the truth.
And that baby, he would have let her die in that box, for nothing.
He fled like a coward, but we have extradition. He will face justice.
Justice. I want more. I want my life back. That child deserves a life.
She stood, no longer a widow in black, but a woman ready to fight. The grave had stolen enough, but the cartel still wanted payment, and Richard's ghost still haunted the ledgers. Emma's war had only one survivor. Her. Emma found Father Mateo alone in the sanctuary, his head bowed beneath the crucifix.
Tell me everything, Father. How did Richard convince you to put an infant in his coffin?
He paid for Lucia's care when I had nothing. Then he said if I didn't help him disappear, the cartel would kill the baby anyway.
He was a pawn, just like me. Richard used us all. You should have trusted someone. Now that child has no family left.
She has you, Emma. You see her not as a burden, but as human. I can't raise her. I don't deserve to.
An hour later, Emma stood in the NICU, the baby's tiny fingers curling around her thumb.
I won't let them use you again. I promise you that. You are not a debt or a crime. You are just a little girl.
But the cartel was still watching, and Richard's freedom was a debt that would soon come due. The next morning, a black SUV idled at the ranch entrance, a man in a dark suit stepping out. He spoke without emotion. The cartel expected full payment in 72 hours.
My husband is dead. The ranch is all I have. I can't give you what doesn't exist.
The man smiled, then drove away without another word. When Emma walked back inside, her home was ransacked. Every drawer emptied, every picture smashed.
This was a message. They'll burn the place with me in it. I can't wait for Richard's justice. I need to sell. Now.
Within the hour, she was on the phone with a lawyer, her voice steady but her hands shaking. By sunset, a realtor's lockbox hung on the gate, and the for sale sign was pounded into the dry earth. But the cartel's clock was louder than any offer, and Emma knew selling the ranch might only buy her a head start. The confirmation came from Interpol. Richard Salazar was living under a false name in Buenos Aires, his new identity tied to the cartel's network.
Mrs. Salazar, this clears you. You are a victim, not an accomplice. The case against Richard is solid.
Exonerated. The word felt hollow. Richard's freedom was stolen, but her prison was just beginning.
She drove to the hospital, where the baby was waiting. The same eyes that had stared from the coffin now looked up with quiet trust.
I told them I want to adopt you. Your name will be Grace, because that's what you are, a gift.
At the lawyer's office, she signed the papers, guardianship, then adoption. The pen shook in her hand. The document read, Petitioner Emma Salazar, child Grace, infant female.
Grace, my daughter now. No one will ever use her again.
But the cartel's deadline was still ticking, and the ranch sale was not yet final. Freedom had a price she hadn't yet paid. Emma was no longer Richard's widow. She was Grace's mother, and that, she realized, was the only title that mattered. 2 days later, a letter arrived with the morning mail. No return address, just the smudged stamp of the county jail. The priest wrote, Emma, I have no right to ask, but I beg you, protect Grace. The cartel does not forget blood. They will hunt her too. The last line was scratched out and rewritten. What was done cannot be undone. But you can save that child, please. That afternoon, Emma sat across from Father Mateo in the Stark jail visiting room, an inch of glass between them.
You came. I didn't think you would.
I came because you aren't the only one who failed her. But tell me, why warn me now?
Because the cartel won't stop with the ranch. Richard's debt is blood deep. They'll want Grace as leverage. Disappear, Emma. Take the child and vanish before they figure out she's still breathing.
He's right. The ranch won't protect us. I have to leave everything behind.
That night, she packed a single bag. The ranch's sale still pending, but her mind already racing north. The morning brought a wire confirmation. The ranch had sold, and the cartel's payment was ready.
Transfer the full amount. I want a digital receipt. No loose ends.
She then opened a new account in her maiden name and swept the remaining $10,000 into it. Into the truck went a duffel bag, a diaper bag, and Grace's infant carrier, nothing else.
Noche didn't move. He just watched from the fence, as if he already knew.
The horse that had exposed the lie now stood sentinel over the last truth she was leaving behind.
Thank you.
She turned the ignition and the ranch shrank in the mirror, but Noche stayed, a black silhouette against the morning sun. The highway unspooled north, carrying a woman and a child away from a grave that had never been filled. But the cartel's accountant was already reviewing the transaction, and a debt this size wasn't just about money. On the road, the radio crackled with a local bulletin. Authorities confirm a black stallion has been standing vigil at Richard Salazar's grave for 3 days, refusing food or shelter.
Noche. Still there. Still loyal to a man who didn't deserve it.
On the hillside, the stallion stood like a black statue, rain sheeting off his mane. He had not eaten in 2 days. His eyes followed no one, but his hooves never left the mound of raw earth.
I can't go back. That grave is a lie, and so is my old life.
In the rearview mirror, a dark sedan appeared, the same car that had been idling near the ranch gate.
They found us. They must have traced the wire.
She took a sharp exit, tires screeching, and slid into a truck stop as the sedan cruised past. Noche's eye held the reflection of the splintered coffin. The moment the truth had cracked open, he would not leave what he knew. She could not stay. At the truck stop, Emma found a man selling a dusty blue sedan for cash. No registration, no questions.
No plates, no record, just 4 wheels and a prayer, enough to vanish.
She transferred Grace's carrier, checking the straps twice. The baby slept through it all. Hours later, a roadside motel. The key shook in her hand as she locked the door behind them. Inside, she sat on the bed, cradling Grace. The baby's eyes fluttered open.
Hey, little one, we made it through. You and me, we're not just running anymore.
Then it happened. Grace's mouth curved, a first fragile smile. After a coffin, a betrayal, a smile.
That's it. That's the reason. I won't let anyone take this from us.
By midday, The sedan rolled through a small town, mountains low in the distance, a church steeple, empty streets.
We're free.
Emma found a small apartment, paying cash for a month. She worked remotely, never using her name. But one evening, a news alert caught her eye. Miracle horse draws thousands to false grave. The clip showed Noche, still planted on the grave, tolerating hands that stroked his neck while pilgrims left hay and candles.
You are still there. Still waiting for a man who will never come back.
The news called it a Catholic pilgrimage. Candles, prayers, even a priest blessing the horse. Emma's stomach knotted.
Maybe I should go back. Tell them the truth. But they'll want Richard's body, and I can't give them that.
Then Grace cooed from the bassinet, a sound so pure it anchored Emma to the floor.
Number. He made his choice. I've made mine.
But the horse's legend grew, and with every social media post, the danger of being found crept closer. Noche's loyalty was now a beacon, and Emma knew it could draw more than just the faithful. Months passed quietly in the small town. Then one morning, the news broke. Richard Salazar arrested in Buenos Aires, extradition pending.
Over. The word settled like a stone. No more running. No more looking over my shoulder.
That same week, Father Mateo's trial concluded. He received a suspended sentence. The court recognized coercion, not malice.
He can rot in Argentina. I won't go back. Grace and I have a life to build.
And then, on an ordinary Tuesday, Grace pulled herself up by the coffee table and took 3 unsteady steps.
You are walking. Oh, Grace, you brilliant little thing.
Emma caught her before she fell, pressing the baby's laughter against her cheek. The sound filled the room.
This is home. Not a map, not a name. This moment, right here.
She slid a newspaper clipping, Richard's arrest photo, into a drawer and closed it without a second glance. The past no longer owned her, but Noche stood on at the grave, a black silhouette against the dusk, his story unfinished. On the 3rd day, a local vet stood at the fence, watching the stallion's ribs move with each shallow breath. The vet said only, "He's made his choice. I won't force him." A ranch hand tried one last time to slip a rope over his neck, but Noche planted his hooves and refused to move. The crowd parted as the stallion lowered his head, a great weariness settling into his frame. As the sun bled orange across the hills, Noche lay down on the grave mound, his breathing slowing. The pilgrims fell silent. Even the cameras stopped recording. He rested his head on his front hooves and closed his eyes, a great sigh leaving his body. Gavette's voice was barely a whisper. He's gone. He did what he came to do. The community stood in awe, some weeping, as the legend of the miracle horse was reborn. On that empty grave, the only truth that mattered was the loyalty of an animal who knew what the coffin hid. A news alert lit up Emma's phone. The stallion had died on the grave, surrounded by candles and silence.
Noche, you waited until it was over, until the truth couldn't be buried again.
She asked a neighbor to watch Grace, then drove the silent highway south toward the hillside she'd fled. The cemetery was quiet now, the pilgrims gone. Petals from 100 offerings littered the grass. She stood before the tombstone, Richard Salazar, a name without a body, a grave without a corpse.
You weren't here, Richard, but he was. He loved you more than you ever deserved, and thank you for saving her. You are the only one who knew.
She laid the yellow rose on the grass, right where the coffin had split open. She didn't weep. She touched the stone once and turned away, the past finally at her back. By nightfall, she was home, holding Grace, the faint scent of roses still on her fingers. The morning paper arrived with Richard's mugshot on the front page, 35 years for fraud, conspiracy, and reckless endangerment.
A lifetime in a cage. That's all your lies bought you, Richard.
Below the fold, the article called Noche the Miracle Stallion and Grace the Coffin Baby who broke open a conspiracy. Emma cut out the piece with scissors from the kitchen drawer, her hand steady in the bassinet. Grace gurgled, kicking her feet, a tiny hand reaching for the light.
You have no idea, little one. This world almost buried you before you took a single breath, but you are here. And one day, I'll tell you everything. when it can't hurt you anymore.
She folded the clipping and tucked it into a small wooden box next to the adoption certificate.
The horror gave me you. So maybe it wasn't all darkness.
The story was over, but Grace's had just begun. And Emma would make sure it was told only with love. On a quiet morning, Father Mateo stepped off a bus, a single photograph in his pocket. He found the tombstone and the yellow rose Emma had left, still bright against the grass.
She came back. She honored what I could not.
From his coat, he withdrew a faded photograph, his daughter Lucia, young and smiling.
Lucia, I failed you, but your daughter is safe. She has a mother now.
He placed the photo beside the rose and rested a small stone on its edge to hold it. He stood slowly, crossed himself, and began the prayer he had left unfinished at the funeral.
Into your hands, Lord, I commend this child and the horse who knew more than any of us.
He lingered a moment longer, then turned and walked away, the cemetery empty and peaceful. The rose and the photo remained, two small proofs that the past could finally rest. A year later, in a small park with a single swing set, Emma pushed Grace gently, the chains creaking in rhythm. The child's laughter rang out, a sound that carried no echo of the coffin.
Higher, mija, higher.
Emma wore a simple blue dress, no black lace, no veil, the color of a sky she'd finally let herself see. A small silver locket caught the sun, resting against her collarbone.
Inside, a tiny photo of Noche, the one who gave us this. Mama, up! Up you go, my love. Always up.
They walked home, hand in tiny hand, a woman and her daughter, leaving only footprints on the empty playground. The locket stayed warm against her skin, a promise that the truth, once freed, could never be buried again. The hillside cemetery grew quiet, the grave of Richard Salazar now softened by wild grass and time. The photo Lucia had left was faded by weather, still held by a small stone on the tombstone. Where the stallion had lain, a single white flower pushed through the earth, stubborn, impossible. It bloomed without witness, a quiet defiance against the lies once buried here. The sun began to set, casting long gold over the tombstones and the wildflowers. The white petals caught the last light, luminous against the darkening hillside. Richard's name was still carved in granite, but no body rested beneath. Only memory. The hillside held no mourners, only the whisper of wind through the grass, and a truth that could never be buried again. Some truths only the heart can bear.